going to be very, very difficult for you to feel safe emotionally to even do the work to heal. And guess what? Your children are watching that.
Elevate with Monique. Elevate. Elevate with Monique.
Hey, sis. Welcome back to Elect Elevation with your hostess, Mo. And since we are celebrating Mother's Day in the month of May, I thought that it would make sense for us to do a series and really talk about healing while mothering. Let me just go ahead and preference everything that I'm going to say by saying, I in no way, shape, form, or fashion have all of the answers. As a matter of fact, I am moving through most of this part of my parenting journey as well, or I have moved through it. So, what I'm going to share with you are nuggets, insights, wisdom, and in some cases, things that I'm going to challenge you to do as you are mothering your children, but also while healing, if this is your journey like it is mine. So, we are going to talk about healing and how healing is not just for us, it is also for our children, right? So, I used to think that healing was, when I first started my healing journey, I felt like healing was for me. I felt like I needed to work on myself so that I could heal some areas for, for the elevation of my life. And while that is absolutely very, very true, I realized that our healing journey affects our children as well. When you think about it, the way in which we show up for our children, the way that we teach them, the way that we engage with them is all a reflection of what we saw and how we were raised as children, right? And so when you think about becoming a better version of yourself, I want you to remember that that is not just for the benefit of you or even you and your partner or your marriage or your friendships, but it is absolutely also for the benefit of your children. I can remember when I finally started to grasp this concept, right? I was at the very beginning stages of just trying to become a better person altogether. And I remember thinking to myself, one day I was talking to my daughters, and my oldest daughter at the time probably couldn't be any more than maybe about 6. And I remember saying something to her and saying it in a tone that was just like blaring. It was forceful. My voice was raised, and it just didn't sound nurturing. It didn't sound like what I wanted to sound like as a mom. And it was in literally in that moment that it was almost as if God put me in front of me. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't like that. I don't like the way that I sound. I don't like the way that I'm speaking to my daughters. And I was immediately reminded of the environment that I lived in and how much it looked and sounded like what I was demonstrating to my daughters. So the first thing that I would say is when you are learning how to parent yourself and heal yourself in order to be a better mother for your children, self awareness is very, very important. If you don't even have the level of self awareness to identify maybe the areas that feel or seem, I hate the word toxic, but negative, let's just go with a very simple word, negative, then there's no way you're going to be able to make change because you don't even recognize that that is an area that you need to change. So being open to allowing God to show you different areas where you really could improve when it comes to the way that you parent your children, that is the first step. Okay. And then your emotional environment. When you're healing yourself, it definitely creates a space for emotional safety. emotional vulnerability, but you have to be intentional about creating that space. And what do I mean by that? So, if you're in an environment or in your home, there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of yelling, there's a lot of disagreement and arguing, and it's just very volatile. It's going to be very, very difficult for you to feel safe emotionally to even do the work to heal. And guess what? Your children are watching that. So, the way that you show up, if you show up frustrated all the time, if you show up in a way where you're always going and doing and busying yourself, but you're not demonstrating to them that you are actually putting in the work to sit still, to pray, to reflect, then it's going to be very difficult for you to set the example of what it looks like to feel emotionally safe in your environment. So you want to try to think about that when you are in your day-to-day life, right? Making sure that you are setting your environment in such a way that it brings safety to yourself, but then also safety to your children, where they feel safe enough to be who they are. They feel safe enough to just be, right, to just be in their home, to just be with their family, with you as their mother. Okay. And then the third point that I would say is having compassion and patience is so important when you are healing and going through that journey of healing. Now, let me just say, I know that I keep saying the word healing, and for some of you, you might be like, well, Mo, I really don't need to heal anything. Like, I feel like I parent my children good, and I feel like, I don't need to heal anything. I tip my hat off to you because I wish that was my story. That is not my story, even still today. I am still realizing that there are areas of my life that I need some work on as it relates to how it shows up in my parenting skills. And so I have to remind myself to be patient with me and not beat myself up when I recognize another area that I need some help in. I really need to make some changes, right? Having that patience with yourself is so, so important. And I would even go a step further and say having the grace for yourself. Because also, what you're doing is you're demonstrating to your children that it's okay to have patience with yourself in the areas where you are challenged, in the areas where you want to make change. And have that conversation with them. If they're old enough to really understand, I talk to my girls. The funny thing is that my girls think that because I'm mom, I'm supposed to know it all. I'm supposed to have all of the answers. And I have to tell them, I mean, even as recent as the last 30, 45 days, I don't have all the answers, especially coming from an environment where I didn't have an example of a mother in that way. I don't have the answers. And so I have to ask for grace from them, but I also have to ask for grace for myself. And I do it in a way that I don't hide it. I want them to see that I am vulnerable. I want them to see that there are areas of my life that I need to make changes so that I can show up better for them and I can be a better mother for them. So having that patience and compassion, right? Compassion for yourself and grace for yourself. The other thing is that it will also help you to then have compassion and grace for your children because you realize that life is not a linear journey. It comes with ebbs and flows. It comes with ups and downs. It comes with challenges. And by the way, nobody has a rule book that you have that says, okay, on this day, you need to be doing this and you should be doing that. No. So we bring all of our experience to the table, and you got to have compassion and you have to have grace for yourself. So I want you to remember this, that when you choose healing, you gift your children with emotional clarity, security, and a new standard of love. So, my challenge for you is to identify just one area in your life that you know you can do a better job of showing up in that area, not only for yourself, and the healing is not only going to be beneficial for you, but that it's also going to spill over into your children's lives. And write that down, put it somewhere where you can remind yourself every single day that this is the thing that you are focusing on so that you can become a better parent for your children. I hope that helps. I'll see you in the next video. And don't forget, if you resonate with this content, please don't hesitate to like it, don't hesitate to share it, and don't hesitate to subscribe because I would love for you to become a part of the Elect Elevation community. I'll see you soon. Bye. Always, sis. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like this video, do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe button. And if you don't want to miss out on any of my latest content as it's being released, go ahead and hit the notification bell icon as well. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time.